Hello, welcome to this Crypto Professor analysis video on Binance Coin or BNB. Binance Coin is the proprietary token behind the Binance cryptocurrency exchange, which is the largest cryptocurrency exchange by volume in the world, the largest centralized cryptocurrency exchange in the world by volume, and has been now for a number of years. Binance was started in 2017 and very quickly managed to gain a very secure footing as one of the world's most trusted cryptocurrency exchanges. Looking at the tokenomics, we can see that it's currently ranked 9th in terms of market capitalization, and there is a market cap of $4 billion with a total trading volume over the 24 hours of around about $250 million. Current circulating supply of 147 million BNB against a total supply of 179 million BNB. There is a reason why this is such an odd number, which I will get to a little bit later. Looking at the ultimate low and high price, we have a price just under 4 cents back in October 2017 and a high of just about $40 back in the summer of 2019. Current price is around about $28 or so, and that has ricocheted off a top of around about $31 recently. Now, one thing I want to explain about BNB is it's slightly different from the majority of cryptocurrencies in that a certain amount of BNB are burnt by Binance every quarter. And we see that we're now around about 3 years into that burn cycle. We've just done the 13th burn last month. And they typically burn around about 1% on average of the total supply. So you can see that 68 million BNB in dollar terms were burnt last October. And that is actually the largest amount of BNB that has ever been burnt. And that was at a price of $30 or so. They do this in order to increase the scarcity of the Binance token. So the idea is that it becomes rarer as time goes on. So rather, with the majority of cryptocurrencies, they are mined or even released, like Ripple's XRP, over the course of time. Binance releases but also burns a lot of tokens in order to increase the rarity and the scarcity of their token. This is why the max supply is currently around about a weird number, 179,883,948. That will fluctuate and will go down again on the next burning, which is in January 2021. Now, does this burning affect the price, you might ask? Well, the answer is yes and no. These green blocks you can see here are the various burn dates for BNB, and you can see the majority of them, 7 out of the past 8 in fact, have been bullish on the price. They burn a large amount of BNB and the price escalates as a result, but it's not always the case. This one, for example, was a bit more ambiguous because the entire cryptocurrency market was actually coming down at this point, including Bitcoin. So we saw a steep drop in the price of BNB, and also every other cryptocurrency that was noteworthy or was increasing earlier in the year. This red block here is actually when Binance was hacked. In May 2019, Binance was hacked and $40 million worth of Bitcoin was stolen. Why, you might ask, did the price suddenly escalate of the proprietary token behind the exchange that was hacked? Well, they agreed to pay the insurance premium on those coins. So basically Binance stepped in and said, we've taken out insurance for this type of event, we will make you whole again. So everyone who lost their Bitcoin in that transaction, in that hack, actually had a payout for that. So no one actually lost anything. Hence the price of BNB skyrocketed from $20 all the way up to $30 in the space of 1 week following that announcement. You can also see here the long-term trend line of BNB, where it acts as support, meaning that the ultimate low price that I'd now be looking at under any circumstances would probably be around about the $15 region. Anything lower than that I think is unlikely to occur unless something terrific or terrible happens to the price of Binance coin, or something terrific happens to the price of Bitcoin, for example, and everyone kind of forgets about Binance coin. I don't think that's very likely. After all, as I said, Binance is one of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchanges, and you get certain rewards for holding Binance, which I'll get to a little bit later at the end of this video. So let's look a little bit more in detail at that chart and hypothesize on where I think the price might be headed given enough time. I think that the ultimate upside for Binance coin is very good. I think it is a coin that is going to be around for a long time. I personally hold a few Binance coin, and I'm hodling those forever, effectively, until the price reaches 3 to 4 digits. We'll see how far it goes. But the next immediate upside I see after we break this blue resistance line, which is around about the $30 region, is a jump, first of all, to $48, and then a following jump up towards $60 or so. I can see that happening probably within the next 12 months. If we break this resistance level, which we're struggling with at the moment, admittedly, we will see a jump to $50 and then $60. Beyond that, I don't want to hypothesize, but I can comfortably see the price doubling from here over the course of 2021. However, we might see a bearish trend start before then. You notice that this trend line here is very steep. This trend line starts back in March and has culminated all the way through the year to the point here, and has been in line with Bitcoin, Ethereum, most major cryptocurrencies, Chainlink even, has had the similar bullish trend line. And that's just a recovery after this liquidity plunge that we saw back in the early part of 2020. Right here, right now, is the crisis point, effectively. Do we break this resistance, or do we fall back down and settle on support around about $20 or even lower, around about the $18 to $19 region, where these two moving averages are? Bear in mind, this is a week chart, so there's a lot of data here. Notice that the RSI is starting to look a little bit overbought, but nothing threatening of a sell-off anytime soon. On a day chart, it's even more ambiguous. We're literally bang on 50%, so it could go either way. Once more, zooming in on that wedge that we've got here, we see this resistance level has been tapped multiple times. We also see this trendline support is very strong, so it could go either way. At the moment, we're hovering around about this 50-day EMA. We've got the 100 underneath it, and we're oscillating between the two at the moment. At the moment, I would say the bearish call would win, just because Bitcoin is so strong and there's not particularly much of a reason to acquire a huge amount of BNB at the moment. Things are moving at other cryptocurrencies that are a lot more exciting potentially, and therefore I think that BNB might be left a little bit by the by, which may mean a trend line break of this long-term 6-month trend line that we have here. Okay, so I'd expect this blue line resistance to hold for now. However, if we test it again and break above it, it may be a different story. I would ideally like to see Binance coin, if my hypotheses are correct, stay below $34. If it breaches $34, then there's something else happening, and this trendline support is going to breach this resistance line. Let's look at a few more technical indicators. Let's look at the MACD, which on a day chart is currently crossing over. There is room to maneuver here to the downside, but it's fairly ambiguous on a day chart. Let's look at a week. On a week, things are a little bit more direct. We are crossing over here, and we do have room to maneuver to the downside, particularly with this 50-week EMA here, coming in around the $21 region. We've just started a 100-week EMA for the coin, which is great. That comes around about the $19 region that I mentioned earlier. This crossover here is giving me a little bit of cause for concern, and actually verifies my bearish sentiment on the token at the moment. I would expect to drop to at least $24, if anything, over the course of the next couple of weeks. And I believe it might be Bitcoin that does that. So I'm going to take a look in a moment at Bitcoin against BNB, because that is where the majority, I think, of the bearish sentiments will come. The US dollar, obviously, usually fairly stable, doesn't really fluctuate. you'll notice that the actual fact the pattern of behavior has been fairly stable. Most cryptocurrencies do this, and then they settle down here for a long period of time before having another parabolic rise. Binance Coin has not done that. It has been more adopted and more used than the majority of cryptocurrencies over its course of its history, which has led to this kind of strange behavioral pattern. And also the burn activity has also contributed to the volatility not being of what a typical cryptocurrency project might look like. So let's look at the volume. You'll see the volume is fairly flat, even though we've had these price deviations all the way from $36 all the way down to $7. The volume did not move at all. It's remained about 4 million since it started, and I think that's down to the burning of the tokens. Obviously, burning the tokens decreases the liquidity, and therefore you're more able to have a smaller volume but not affect the price as much. So I think that's why we've tailed off here. I don't think the volume is going to increase significantly. If it does, that means we're going to break that resistance line that we saw in the earlier part of today's discussion, this here. If the volume increases significantly above 4 million, then we will break through here. Until that happens, I don't think we're going to have a issue having a sell-off here. In actual fact, I would expect this to come down ever so slightly, maybe to the $2.5 to $3 million range. So that's the volume that we're looking at there. Against BTC, it's a different story entirely. Obviously, BTC is running away from us at the moment, chasing a new all-time high, potentially for all time. It's definitely the highest it's been at the moment in 3 years. We've had a huge sell-off with BNB against BTC, and actually a trend line break here, a long-term 3-year trend line break underneath here. I think the outlook for BNB against BTC is bearish considerably, down to the 10,000 Satoshi region, or 106,000 Satoshi that should read, because we don't have the final digit there. So that is extremely bearish. You'll notice the price has actually oscillated between these two Fibonacci levels for quite some time. We've broken that trend line recently. This is a week chart again, so in the last fortnight we have broken that comfortably. We should now fall down to this level, with either Binance coin dropping in terms of dollars, which I think would happen, down to 24, as I said, between 24 and $19, or Bitcoin climbing considerably to make a new all-time high somewhere between $20,000 and $25,000. Both of those things may happen. Once again, the RSI, a little bit ambiguous, nothing particularly to say. I sold my Binance coin around here on this spike in the RSI, so I'm waiting for a pullback further to buy some more. We're not overbought or oversold on the week chart. Let's look at the day charts. Okay, so we are oversold on the day chart, but then again, we're in a massive decline. And also look at those crossovers on the EMAs there. We've just crossed over on a day chart. So I'd expect this to fall a little bit further. If I look at the MACD, let's have a look. Okay, so we're starting to see a little bit of a turnaround, potentially, on a day chart. On a week chart, however, things have only just begun. We are starting to see a larger drop. So it's a bit more of an ambiguous picture, but that's probably because there's so much price action going on that it's hard to tell. But I think ultimately a bearish outlook in the short term for BNB, followed by a larger bullish outtrend. I just wanted to mention quickly the incentives for holding BNB are fees, discount fees on trading volume through Binance. You can have, depending on the amount of BNB that you hold, trading volume and even kickbacks of 20%. So you get 25% off trading fees or kickbacks of 20%. And also, Binance have just launched a debit card where you can get up to 8% cashback depending on how much BNB you hold. So this will be probably the mainstay of liquidity locking up for Binance Coin over the course of 2021 as more people start to take out these debit cards, which give them cashback paid in BNB. So that's going to lock up a lot of capital that is going to make the market less tradable. Combined with the burning, that's going to make this a very, very rare token over the course of 2021. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any suggestions or recommendations, please let me know. and I'll endeavour to make a recording. Thanks. The Crypto Professor likes feedback. If you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like it. If you'd like more of the same, please don't forget to subscribe. Or if you have questions, please post them in the comments and I'll endeavour to answer them for you. Thanks for watching.